Hey everyone, Mitch coming in for the Chimera's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So, really quick, you can see my episode on One with the Multiverse. Make sure you check this one out some point because, yeah, I mean, there's a reason Omniscience is in the title. A big blue enchantment. Let's see what this one does. But actually, don't see what that does right now because don't leave just yet. No. You gotta stay tuned for this one because on this episode, we're talking about a brand new way to look at basic lands. That's right, one of the building blocks of Magic is now being turned on its head in a way. So to find out what I'm talking about, well, let's jump into it. After, of course, you blame Eddie, especially for this episode, because Eddie had a lot of recommendations, and yeah, if I make any mistakes, it's always Eddie's fault, not mine. Now, with that said, let's jump into it. So, Rootpath Purifier is a brand new exciting spoiler, a 3/4 elf druid that costs 3 and a green, and it has lands you control, and land cards in your library are basic. And that's all. And while that might seem like a very small and kind of weird thing, this can have a massive impact on the game. Again, remember, there are a lot of ways out there to search for basic lands, and we'll get to those here in a bit. Of course, a couple of great examples, but there are plenty of fantastic ways to do that. There's plenty of great ways to go get basic lands and, well, either get them in your hand or in many cases, right into play for not that much mana or pretty cheaply, essentially. And yeah, now you can essentially go get, well, any lands because they're all basic. So when you are searching for basics, everything is basic. Every single land in your deck and every single land you control are basic. Now, keep in mind, it does not include lands in your hand, which I'll give a very specific example here in a bit about that. But yeah, for the most part, every single one of your lands, no matter where they're at, again, except for your hand, are now considered to be basic, which is a massive advantage, especially with some of the cards that actually see some of the most play in Commander. So yeah, this card can have a massive impact on Commander games, and yeah, I can think of a few decks right now that would do some pretty crazy things with this in them. So now with all that said, let's jump into the cards that just show off how incredible and how interesting and how unique and how off the wall and how crazy this can get. And again, just with a simple card, again, like Rampant Growth, sees a ton of play in Commander, a great low-to-the-ground ramp spell. Sorcery for 1 and a green. Search for life for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. The vast majority of the time, you are, getting either a plains, an island, a swamp, a mountain, a forest. One of those, and that's what you're getting, and it's still an incredible card. This ramp shoe on turn 2 gets you a land in a play tapped. Great. But with Rootpath Purifier in play, this gets turned up to 11 for all you Spinal Tap fans out there. Anyways, it turns it all the way up to 11. You can go get any land in your deck now directly into play. I mean, tap, sure, but now it's a 2-mana tutor that gets you any land. Doesn't have to be one of those basics because now everything is a basic into play tap, and there are some incredible options that you can now go get instead of, just the 5 standard options essentially, or I guess, 10 if we're counting, snow lands. Anyways, or okay, 12, 11 wastes, right? Because there aren't any snow wastes yet. Anyways, Migration Path, takes us a step further at 4 mana, sorcery for 3 and a green, search life for the 2 basic land cards to the non-battlefield tap, then shuffle your library, you can cycle away for 2. There's plenty of effects like this one at 4 mana, but yeah, now you can go get 2 lands. Again, they don't have to be, your regular basics. They can be any lands in your library. Go get them. Go get whatever you want. Get them into play. And yeah, being able to do this with 2 lands actually has a lot of implications, and we'll talk about those here in a bit because there are certain lands that, well, really work pretty well together. Or, just go get an absurd amount of lands. I mean, yeah, if you are in green, which you have to be if you are utilizing Rootpath Purifier, Boundless Realms, an incredible card with this. Search for life to X basic land cards, X the number of lands you control with on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So literally just go get, any kind of land you want. Again, let's say you have 7 lands in play. Cool. Go get your 7 favorite lands in the deck. These 7 lands that work the best together. There are some incredible things and some incredible plays. Again, some people overlook lands. You really shouldn't. I mean, yeah, there are certain reasons why Prime Time is banned because it can go get you any lands. And yeah, now this essentially says, hey, all those regular ramp spells that you're using that give you basics, now those are getting you whatever lands you want. They are just turned up again to 11. Spinal Tap. And like I alluded to earlier, I mean, some of the most played cards in all of Commander. I mean, Evolving Wilds. That card sees an absurd amount of play because, again, it can fit in any deck out there. It's a great way to fix your mana, but this one is now also just an incredible way to go get whatever land you want. This is now just, hey, tutor for any land, get it right into play. Tap, sacrifice it, search for a base land card, put on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Yeah, again, already a good card. Being able to fix your mana, getting, mountain, forest, swamp, plains, island, whatever you want. But now with this, it's like, hey, no, go get whatever land you want out of, the 37 or whatever lands you have in your deck. Whichever one you want. Get it right into play. Or how about Terramorphic Expanse? Okay, yeah, does the exact same thing as Evolving Wilds. So yeah, the exact same thing I said. Or how about Fabled Passage, for a little bit of a higher budget. Sacrifice to get a basic land card, put on battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Then if you control 4 or more lands, untap that land. So in this case, this is basically like, hey, yeah, you might even be able to go get any land, get it into play and untapped when you've got this brand new fantastic card, Rootpath Purifier, in play. And also kind of keep in mind with this that obviously, for a landfall deck, this might be an incredible card to include. And yeah, with these kinds of cards, you can kind of chain them because you could, Fabled Passage into another land. Maybe you've got a way to untap your lands, Terramorphic Expanse. There are plenty of different ways that you can really use and abuse this way to make your lands into basics that can help you go get any lands. I mean, of course, there's a land that can get you even more basic lands like Blighted Woodland. Tap strike colors, pay 3 and a green, tap, sacrifice it, go get 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. And again, this is just basically, hey, go get your 2 favorite lands. Get whatever 2 lands you want. And again, there are certain lands that work incredibly well together that now this is just basically kind of like a tooth and nail, essentially, in a way, where it just kind of like can be a game-ending card in a way. And this is just a simple land that you're going to say, okay, yeah, I will go get these 2 lands. Good luck, because they are not going to be just your regular basics. They're going to be these new, now basic cards. And one such combination that isn't exactly, game ending, but it can definitely end the game in the right circumstance. Dark Depths, Thespian Sage, a fantastic pairing of lands. This one is quite fun. Legendary Snowland. Dark Depths enters battlefield with 10 ice counters on it. By paying 3, you remove an ice counter from it. When it has no ice counters on it, you sacrifice it. If you do, create Merit Lage, a legendary 2020 black avatar creature token with flying and indestructible. So yeah, I mean, Dark Depths normally would take you, 30 mana essentially to get all those ice counters off of it. But in combination with Thespian Sage, it costs quite a bit less. In fact, I believe, 28 mana less, essentially. Thespian Sage has tap for a colorless, and pay 2 tap. Thespian Sage becomes a copy of target lands, except it has this ability. So again, Dark Depths has that ETB that makes it come into play with 10 ice counters on it. Thespian Sage has no such thing. So when you have Thespian Sage and play with it, you just pay 2, tap it, make it a copy of Dark Depths. Then it says, oh no, I'm a copy of Dark Depths. I've got no ice counters on me. Sacrifice me, get me Merit Lage, 2020, black avatar creature and flying indestructible. Have fun and good luck, opponents. So yeah, again, a simple, Migratory Path or, Circuitous Route or, again, Blighted Woodland even, a land itself can go get you this combination for you to do some pretty absurd things. Or how about just going and getting Field of the Dead? It enters the battlefield tapped. It can tap for a colorless. Whenever it or another land enters the battlefield under control, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token. Yeah, it's going to be very easy to go get lands with different names. And again, you can just start chaining certain lands together. Getting your Fabled Passage, sacrifice that to go get another land, which might also be able to sacrifice. And we'll talk about another example here in a bit that sacrifices right away. But yeah, being able to just get land after land after land to get this landfall trigger as well as other landfall triggers to really have a very impactful turn, even just the exact turn that you get out, your brand new card. Then the name is eluding me. My apologies. Have to look real quick. Rootpath Purifier. There we go. Hopefully I don't forget again, but I probably will. There's a ton of new cards to remember with a ton of new names. Anyways. Next up, though, I mean, if you want a lot of mana out of certain lands, sure, go get a 2-land combination of Urborg, Tune of Yawgmoth to make every single land into a swamp, in addition to other types, and Cabal Coffers. Pay 2 tap, you have black for each swamp you control. Now, every single one of your lands is, not only basic, but also a swamp. So have fun with that. Or, you can kind of skip a step if you have a Gaia's Cradle and you have a lot of creatures. Sure, tap for a green for each creature you control. Yeah, that can be an absurd amount of mana. There's a reason why this card is incredibly expensive. And there's also a reason why, these cards are pretty hard to tutor for in a lot of circumstances. I mean, there's a good amount of, land tutors out there and go you any land essentially, but most of them don't get that land directly into play, and most are not nearly as efficient as the cards that do go get basics. So have fun with your rampant growth now, just going getting you, again, something as incredibly powerful as a Gaia's Cradle. Or you can go get some utility lands that can help you out. I mean, like a Bajuka Bog. If someone has, a graveyard-centric deck and they are going off, hey, okay, I'll crack my Evolving Wilds. I'll go get a Bajuka Bog. Enters the battlefield, exile cards from target player's graveyard. Cool. I just, instant speed, got rid of someone's graveyard with a land from my library, which is not basic, but it is basic thanks to this brand new card. Or how about Mystic Sanctuary? I mean, this can probably get pretty gross in combination with certain other things. When it enters the battlefield, it enters tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When it enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant sorcery card from your graveyard on top of your library. So yeah, I mean, this plus, certain gross things like, extra turn spells that don't exile. Yeah, that can really get out of hand quite quickly. And also, of course, there are other ways to, get this back and certain other ways to help with this. I mean, also keep in mind, this then would be a basic island, and there are certain cards, one we'll talk about here in a little bit, that can go get specifically a basic island. So yeah, with this being basic now, have fun getting this when you need it. Or, maybe you want to go with Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. It enters the battlefield tap whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control. If you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle, deal 3 damage to target creature or player. So yeah, if you have a deck that's built around kind of getting this can be another avenue to go get this quite easily. Again, essentially any of you, your regular basic land tutors will go get this Valakut into play for you. And of course, that can be just a massive play, sometimes game ending. I mean, think about like a Boundless Realms into this with a lot of mountains. Speaking of game ending, though, with something like that, Boundless Realms, how about Mesa's End? It enters the battlefield tapped, you can tap for a colorless, pay 3, tap, return to Czar's hand, search your library for a gate card on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Control 10 or more gates of different names, you win the game. Again, gates are not basic, but now they essentially are. So yeah, use your Evolving Wilds or whatnot, or your Boundless Realms, go get a lot of those now basic gates, get them into play, get this in play, utilize it, win. Have fun with your Mesa's End strategy. Now, one strategy I want to make you aware of that you need to be careful with because, this does not work like I mentioned earlier. Let's talk about Terrain Generator. This one can tap for a color, so by paying 2, you tap and put a basic land card from your hand into play tapped. Now, this is a very good card, and I wish they would keep reprinting it to make it more budget-friendly, to, use in a lot of budget decks. Regardless, it does not work with Rootpath Purifier in the way that you might want it to work. Because though Rootpath Purifier makes lands basic, whether they're in play or whether they're in your library, they don't actually become basic when they are in your hand, which to me is kind of strange. And I really, please someone in the comments below let me know if there's a specific reason behind that other than literally just like Terrain Generator. But yeah, it really doesn't make sense to me as to why that was a limitation. It could have very easily been added, but it is, so that's just the way it is. So yeah, do not try to use Terrain Generator to get just miscellaneous lands out of your hand to play tapped, unless that's, a basic forest, island, swamp, mountain. Unless it's just a regular basic land, you're not going to be able to get it from your hand into play. So don't get tricked by that, okay? Speaking of getting tricked, though, Vesuva is a very tricky land, one that can enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land on the battlefield. So again, you can just basically say, hey, this Vesuva is now this other fantastic land that I already have. Hey, have you always wanted, 2 Valakuts? Great. Or do you want a second Cabal Coffers? Gross, but yeah, have fun. Now, one other thing I kind of alluded to earlier is how, making certain lands basic can really make an impact with other cards. I mean, for example, Zagath Triome is not a basic land. Thank goodness. A Swamp Forest Island, though, so it's got basic land types on it, essentially. But yeah, it is not inherently basic unless we've got this brand new card in play. And I probably should mention, just casting a Rampant Growth to go get this now can be very impactful. But also keep in mind that, with like a Broker's Hideout or something like that, which says, when enters the battlefield, sacrifice it. When you do, you may search your library for a basic forest, plains, or island card, put on the battlefield tap, then shuffle your library. You gain 1 life. So this one is somewhat like Evolving Wilds, but again, it is limited to just basic forest, basic plains, and basic islands. That being said, Zagoth Triome is a basic forest, swamp island essentially, right? I don't know why I said that out of order, but yeah, Swamp Forest Island. Anyways, it's late in the day. But thanks to this brand new card, when Broker's Hideout is sacrificed, you can actually go get this because, again, it is now basic. Or, yeah, go get your Mystic Sanctuary, which is a basic island, and, get your extra turn spell back on top of your library. Gross. And speaking of gross, oh my goodness. Okay, do not do this. I mean, ask your playgroup first. If they're okay with it, then sure, go for it. But yeah, Rootpath Purifier works incredibly well with gross cards like Ruination, Back to Basics, and Blood Moon. Ruination says destroy all non-basic lands. So here's the thing. You don't have any non-basics because all your lands are basic. So therefore, your lands don't get destroyed. This 4-mana sorcery is going to destroy all your opponent's non-basics. They can keep their basics, sure, but all their non-basics go away and yours are completely fine. Every single one of your lands will not be affected by this, much like it won't be affected by Back to Basics. This one especially ask, any group about because, oh my, this is just terrible. Okay, here we go. Non-basic lands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Yeah. So now your lands are, again, unaffected by this. They're all basic as long as you've got this new card in play. Your opponent's lands, well, their non-basics aren't going to untap, so have fun utilizing them once. Or have fun utilizing them as mountains, which is kind of weird with Blood Moon. Non-basic lands are mountains, so hope you don't really care about your mana fixing too much because have fun with red. Now, when it comes to commanders that might want to utilize Rootpath Purifier, one of the very first ones that came to my mind was definitely Muldrotha the Gravetide. During each of your turns, you may play up to one permanent card of each permanent type from your graveyard. So yeah, that also includes lands. This can just get very easy to do some pretty gross things because, yeah, hey, all right, I got my Evolving Wilds. I'll crack it. I'll go get whatever land I want, get right into play. Okay, next turn. I'll get my Evolving Wilds out of my graveyard. I'll utilize it. I'll go get another land, whatever land I want. As long as you just get one of your tutor lands, essentially, then go get any basic, you can just keep getting whatever lands you want from your library into play. On top of all the other gross things that Muldrotha can do. So yeah, Muldrotha decks out there might want to consider this new card. Or how about an even grosser way? Lord Windgrace. +2, discard a card, then draw a card. If a land card is discarded this way, draw an additional card. So that's nice. But also, -3, return up to 2 target land cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah, again, let's say you got, I don't know, Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse. Awesome. Get those, sacrifice them, go get whatever land you want directly into play. Get more loyalty on this, do it again. So yeah, just being able to keep tutoring up, whatever lands you want, of course, can be an incredibly powerful thing in many decks out there. But yeah, now as this episode is coming to a close, it's time for me to give you my final thoughts on Rootpath Purifier. I definitely did not expect to see a card like this. I think it's a very interesting and unique design. And yeah, again, it turns cards that you already want to play, again, like a Rampant Growth or a Migratory Path, or again, just Evolving Wilds into, well, I mean, much better versions of themselves, even though they're already great cards. Being able to go tutor for any land in your deck, essentially, is a massive advantage. Again, I'm not exactly sure why they didn't include, lands, in your hand are also basic. Someone in the comments, please let me know if you know why. I'm not sure. It can't be is it just for terrain generator? That seems kind of weird. That seems very specific. Is there another reason? Anyways, that's beside the point. A great card, Rootpath Purifier. I'm excited to see what kind of decks, players are going to play it in. And yeah, what kind of massive plays players are going to make with it. But of course, make sure you're all staying tuned to this channel for even more exciting quick takes and spoilers coming up this spoiler season. And with that, the show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what your thoughts on this episode are. And as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. We also have a ton of brand new t-shirt designs in stock, so make sure you check out those as well. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.